Man, I'm excited about today's video. I'm excited for you guys to watch it because this video is full of some awesome top water blow-ups. It's full of some awesome tips on fishing top waters this time of year to get the biggest bites that you possibly can. And it's just a super fun video that I put together for you guys. And what's really cool is not only do you get to see the success, but you get to see a little bit of failure as well, and actually how I adjust to the failure to make sure I put fish into the boat. And so hopefully you guys will learn something from this, because it's not always sunshine and rainbows when we're out in the water. Sometimes we know it can get tough, and so that's what I break down. I break down how we can get past those tough moments and how we can apply some tips to put big fish into the boat this time of year, especially when it's tough like it is right now. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. I'm so glad that you clicked on it, and without further ado, I'll let you enjoy some of these awesome topwater blow-ups. There he is. There we go, guys. Pretty little fish. It's amazing, he's not even that big. They hit something that hard. It's awesome. Thank you, buddy. That was awesome. That was freaking so cool. Oh man, that was freaking, what a cool bite. I don't care if I didn't get that fish in the boat or not. That was a cool bite. Heck yeah. God dang. There we go. Oh my God, mama. Oh. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, I got a wolf pack after it. I got a wolf pack after it. I just had a wolf pack follow this thing off the bank, dude. A wolf pack of freaking 4 pounds. Oh my God. They all come out after it and like did not eat it. Are you shitting me right now? There we go. Come on, come on, come on. Oh my God. They're here. No, dude, I just had another big one come up after it. Here's a freaking big wolf pack right here. Come on. There's like 20 in the top of the golly, dude. They're freaking everywhere. Come on, come on, come after it. That's crazy. There was like 20 cruising through the top of this tree just now. Golly, dude. There we go, got one of them. Yep, that's a big one too. That's a big smallmouth. Dude, that's a freaking big one. That's a freaking big one. He's barely got it hooked too. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Boat flipping you. Heck yeah, dude. I just freaking... Yep, there's one. Skinny. Skinny wolf pack and smallmouth. That's awesome, dude. That was cool, man. Thanks, buddy. Well, boys and girls, we have spent some hours out here fishing, fished all the good stuff, had a ton of blow-ups, and missed a lot of fish. That is what today has been about. This has been a very realistic view at what this type of fishing can be with this Chopo. It's nothing bad about the Chopo. It's mostly just the fish and how they're eating it. You know, I've had a couple just come up and like barely kiss it. I think a lot of that was because the sun wasn't out good when those fish were eating. That's one thing about this bite, is the sun needs to be up, needs to be hard, dark shadows for them to really get it. And then the second thing is when those wolf packs get going all together like that, I mean, they'll push each other out of the way. And I think sometimes they don't even really want to eat it. I think it's just because one chases it, they all want to chase it, and end up none of them actually bite it. Or like I had happen just a few minutes ago, one bites it and then another one knocks it out of its mouth. And so that is been today. And so we're coming back tomorrow to see if we can get these fish to bite like we did today, except for hopefully tomorrow, looky there, there's one, little bitty. Hopefully tomorrow we have a lot more that do this, and instead of being that size, they're fun size. So yeah, it's been a fun day. We're gonna keep fishing here for just a few more minutes, but I will see you guys tomorrow. But nah, dude, yeah, man, there you go, there we go, there we go. Get out of there, get out of there. I ain't gonna pull it out of his mouth. Hush up, woman. You just freaking, I swear to God, Bethany's over here like, don't pull it out of his mouth. Get up in here. There he is. They're all like this. That's what I've been saying. When they bite, they're good ones.
Ain't no damn fish in Tennessee.
Ain't no fish in Tennessee. Ain't no brown fish in Tennessee, that's for sure.
That's a pretty one.
Okay.
Don't be scared of the hooks now.
I'm terrified of them.
You are.
It's the only thing that ever stuck my dad in the hand bad enough that we had to go to the hospital. Okay, come on. Come on, baby. There we go. Woo-hoo-hoo.
That's a nice fish.
That's a pretty fish. That's a good one. Hey, I'm always catch fish when I'm on the phone with people. I got Vinny on the phone today. Yesterday it was Ben. So my damn good luck charms are sitting here. All right, guys. Finally got one in the boat. Absolutely beautiful smallmouth. They absolutely smoked that freaking Chopo when they come up for it. Let's get this one back in the water. Look at that, a little taco right there. Get there. Look at that, look at that. There we go. That's funny. That's funny, man. Did you see him? Did you hear him? Oh, sorry, buddy.
Oh, buddy, it's okay there.
I got you.
Flipping around, flipping around.
Okay.
Oh, God, he's up my butt. What do I do?
Don't move. Oh, come here, fish, and stop that dog.
Buddy.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, hey, chill. Thank you.
My butt's gonna smell like fish.
All right, guys, so let's talk about what I'm doing, because even though this is a super unique bite, I've replicated it on multiple bodies of water, especially this time of year. You know, everybody talks about September, you know, end of September, beginning of October can be one of the hardest times of year to catch a fish, and that is true. But with this sort of bite and kind of what I'm trying to mimic, I think that you can get those bigger than average fish that a lot of people are fishing right by to actually come up and to eat. And so essentially what I'm doing is I'm throwing a full size Chopo, and what I'm trying to mimic, and this is, here's one trying to bite. I want to pick up this whopper plopper at the time, and I'm going to go down these banks. And first probably 10 casts, I caught like a 3.5, almost 4 pound smallmouth. And so I thought, well, that's a total fluke. If I do it again, then there's something to it. And I ended up just going down bank after bank, just like this, catching fish just like this all day long with this Chopo. And again, I think it was doing a really good job of mimicking those tiny little bait fish getting chased by other fish. And so that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to get this fish unhooked, and then I'll explain to you guys more kind of my thought process behind this bait and what I think it looks like. So before I was really interrupted by that fish, we were talking about what does this Chopo mimic, you know, and I was just talking about small bait fish, and mimicking small bait fish with a Chopo this big probably just doesn't make sense in a lot of your guys' heads. Well, It didn't for me until I realized what this Chapo actually does a really good job of mimicking. I think what it does the best job of mimicking is these small bait fish running away and being chased by a bigger predatory fish. This bigger Chapo is the only one that throws enough water, and as you guys can see it coming towards the water at me, it's the only one that throws enough water that looks like bait fish are being chased by something and that they're running for their lives. And so I think that that does two things for you with this bait that makes it so super effective with these fish that are up here chasing these bait fish. Number one, it's totally reactionary. Something hits the water, it's loud, it's a big splash, it immediately starts moving, it immediately starts making all kinds of noise. I mean, I think you just hit that reactionary instinct of those fish. But I think the second thing that it does, and it's probably the most important thing that it does, is it makes those fish compete for something. Because one thing that is happening right now, a lot of these fish are in wolf packs. What a wolf pack is a group of fish, it's 5 to 10 fish. They just cruise up and down shade lines, cruise up and down dock lines, cruise up and down grass lines, eating and corralling bait fish. And so a lot of these fish are already kind of in that competitive nature, that schooling nature that they get into, and they do it this time of year in the fall. And so when you can throw something in there that can make even a singular fish that's sitting by itself think that it has to compete with other predatory fish, it is going to hit that instinct and they're going to come and try to eat that Chapo. And so that's what I think this thing does a really good job of mimicking. You're going to notice I don't finesse it in there. I'm just tossing it in there. I'm letting it hit the water hard. I'm immediately engaging the bait, starting to reel it, reeling it fast. And I think those bass see that thing coming over their head and they think, oh look, there's some bass chasing bait fish, there's some bluegill chasing bait fish, there's something up there chasing those bait fish. I'm gonna go take advantage of those bait fish running, and they smoke it. And so that's what I think this Chapo does a really good job of mimicking. It's so counterintuitive to probably all the other tips you'll hear this time of year on fishing this bait. You know, everybody says go small, go finesse, go light. And what I've found is if you just want to get those bigger than average bites, if you want to be able to cover a lot of water really, really quickly, pick up something big and loud like this Chapo and you're going to get some bites. Now I got two more tips for you guys that we'll go over here in just a minute that I think are super important about this specific bait and helping to make sure that you optimize your time on the water with it. There we go. Stop it jumping. Look at that. Unhooked him and hooked him in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep. Where did I put the clothes?
How did he even manage that? God.
They're so dangerous with these damn Chapos, I'm telling you.
Just throw it everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Here you go, guys. Nice little fishy. Thanks, bud. Tip number 2 on fishing the Chapo and, you know, fishing it the specific way and really fishing it all fall long is choosing the right color. You know, a lot of people will say with reaction style baits that color doesn't matter as much, but I think that it definitely does. And it's how you keep on getting bites just like that right there. A lot of people will tell you, hey, with reaction baits, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna go totally counter to that and say that I think that color oftentimes matters more than anything, because you got to look at like my experience with the money badger. These fish want a specific color. They want that bright orange color, and that bright orange color does a really good job of not only getting them to react, but of also mimicking crawdads and things that they've been eating. Well, I think that when you're fishing this Chapo, it can be the same exact thing. So you guys can see I'm throwing this white color. This looks just like a bait fish, all that kind of stuff, but then on the bottom, it's got a bunch of sparkle, it's got a bunch of flash in there, it throws a lot of light. So just like that money badger, not only does it do a really good job of getting their attention and getting a reaction, but with these bait fish that are up here shallow that these bass are focusing on, it does a really good job of mimicking those bait fish. And so Again, you hear a lot of people say color doesn't matter when you're getting fish to react to things. I'm going to totally disagree and say that it does. And another reason that I know that is personal experience with this specific bite, I have tried to prove myself wrong. I've thrown black, I've thrown green, I've thrown all kinds of different colors, and it's amazing to me that they won't eat those colors as well as they like to eat the bait fish colors. Oftentimes they'll just follow that black or that green or those more natural colors straight back to the boat, but as soon as I pick that shad back up, they start crushing it. And so something to keep in mind, you know, if you're on a lake that's got a bunch of shad, throw a shad color. If you're on a lake that's got a bunch of bluegill, throw something more natural, more bluegill color. I think oftentimes even when fish are reacting and it's a reactionary style bite like a crankbait or like this Chapo, something that's moving quick, I think color oftentimes can determine whether those fish eat it or not, especially if you've got a bunch of followers. If there's ones that's following it back to the boat, pick something up, try a bunch of different colors, do your best that you can of mimicking what these fish are eating. And I think even if it's an extreme of what they're eating, like that money badger and that really, really bright orange, I think still it can get some fish that probably wouldn't eat it or just follow it to actually commit to it and to eat it. There we go. That's a good one. Net, please. Never mind. I mean, hell, net my ass. I'm getting him in here. There he is.
About jumping the boat with you.
I said, net, please. You said, huh?
Sorry, I didn't hear
Then
you.
never mind. I'll boat flip him. I got him. I'll boat flip him.
I didn't hear you.
You're fine. That's pretty good. That's like my favorite clip of the day. I said net, you said what? Never mind, I got him. I'm gonna boat flip him. That's a good little fish. Yeah. There you go, guys. There's another one. They are so pissed off. Little taco. Put him back. Told you they were pissed off. Tip number 3 on throwing the Chapo, that is gear. Having the right gear for this bait is super important, not only for being able to get fish in the boat, but being able to make accurate casts with it, especially when you're doing like with what I'm doing, which is fishing these shade lines and tossing up under trees and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you 2 different options. Number 1 is going to be what I am throwing mine on. So if you have something in your boat, your kayak or your bank bag that can emulate what I'm throwing, pick that up and throw it. But then I'm also going to give you another way that you can throw this thing if you're limited to just a few rods. So the first thing is mine. What I'm throwing this thing on, I'm throwing it on a Abu Garcia winch rod, specifically the 7-foot medium heavy. This is actually labeled as the square bill rod. Now what I like about this rod is that number 1, it's got that parabolic bend that I want when I'm fishing treble hook baits, so that when I do hook one, I'm going to be able to keep them pinned. Now what it also has is it's kind of a moderate fast blank. It's not a moderate blank. And so what that allows me to do is to be able to actually toss this 1 ounce Chapo around. Because that's the thing about this full-size Chapo is a big bait. And so you need a rod with just a little bit of butt in it to actually be able to throw this bait effectively and make accurate casts. And so that's why I like this medium heavy, this square bill rod versus say just a standard medium. Then I've got that paired up with a Revo STX 8 gear ratio, simply because I want to be able to engage this thing and I'm not overworking myself to work the bait. You know, this faster gear ratio, just a good steady reel is going to get this bait up. It's going to work it at the speed that it needs to be worked to get all the action out of it and get these fish to eat. And then I'm throwing that on some straight 40-pound braid for a couple reasons. Number 1, I like braid with topwater, helps me stick fish, especially in long casts. And then number 2, when you're tossing around these trees like I am, you can just rip that braid out of a lot of these tree limbs and through these leaves and things, especially if you get them kind of hung up in there when you make a cast just like that, literally right there, and then still be able to work the bait back to the boat. Now the second option is if you just have say like a 7-foot medium heavy fast action rod, you know, your standard rod that everybody has, or even a jig rod, you know, say you got like a 7.6 medium heavy, like something you would throw a jig on. Well, take a reel, put some 17 to 20 pound mono on there and go to work, or even copolymer. Something that floats, something that's got a lot of stretch. What that stretch is going to do is kind of act like that moderate action rod, so that when you actually hit those fish with that faster action rod, that rod that's not exactly made for treble hook baits, you're going to have enough stretch to be able to actually stick those fish and get them in the boat. And then too, that mono floats and it's got a lot more forgiveness than say a fluorocarbon. See, where the mono's got so much more stretch, it's actually going to be just a little bit tougher than fluorocarbon in a lot of situations. Now, where fluorocarbon's really abrasion resistant in a lot of instances, and the mono might not be as abrasion resistant, but with that stretch, if you do get it in a tree or something like that, it's going to be a little bit tougher so that you can rip it out of there and not have to worry about it. And then two, if you retie enough, you really don't have to worry about those fish breaking that line. And so that's my tips on gear to throw this thing on. I actually used to throw this thing on a 7.6 as a medium heavy, as a jig rod, and I paired it with mono because I just didn't have a specific top water, parabolic style rod that I was able to actually toss this thing around because nobody was making one. And so I kind of made my own by doing that. So that's my tips on gear to actually throw this thing on. I think that it's super important when you're throwing this bait around to be able to throw it effectively, be able to make accurate casts, because that's where I like to throw it, again, up under these trees, up under these overhangs and stuff like that. And so those accurate casts are important so that I am not getting this thing stuck constantly and just totally fighting with it the whole time. I actually be able to fish it effectively. And so, yeah, there you go.